Inravio.com.
Well, good evening, and welcome to 5 Off, 5 On. No, this is not Joe Larson. Joe is actually going to be off for a few weeks. Joe had surgery last Thursday and is convalescing at home and is probably watching us right now. But I'm Mike Jarecki, and I'm going to be filling in for Joe tonight. And tonight we're going to have a couple of guests with us. We're going to have CJ Lehman, who's here alongside of me, and John Visconti, who is on his way. He is stuck in traffic. John has a long ride from Staten Island, I believe, so it takes him a while to get here.
Oh, I thought he was stuck in hair and makeup.
But no, he told me that he doesn't need that.
He's already pretty, right?
He's already pre-makeup. But anyway, we're here to talk a little racing this week. I've invited CJ, who races at Riverhead Raceway. He's raced on the MTS Tour. He's been racing his crate modified at Riverhead. He's been out at Evergreen in Pennsylvania with his tour modified. And we're going to talk a little bit about how his season's going and some other racing news. So I guess maybe we start off with that. Last year you were in your crate modified, driving for John.
Sure.
And this year, now you've got your plate even fuller with a tour modified and the crate modified at Riverhead. How's your season going so far?
Well, I mean, we're not killing it, but we're not at the bottom of the barrel. So we've had a little bit of a mixed bag season. Still looking for our first win so far this year. So everybody wants to click off wins and take home trophies and all of that. So not living up to our expectations so far, but nothing to hang our hands on.
Well, I mean, you went from driving a Charger to driving what was the progression? Went from your Charger, you were also running some figure eight races also at Riverhead?
Yeah, I started in a street stock at Mountain Speedway, which is Evergreen Raceway Park now. Came back to Long Island, ran my Charger for I think 6-7 years, and also did some figure eight races for a couple different car owners. I think about 2 seasons. Then we jumped into the crate mod with John Visconti and Visconti Motorsports, and here we are. We're running the crate mod now and running the tour type mod and MTS races, tour type or modified tour races, all that.
Well, the shop, I've seen pictures in the shop. It looks pretty full with cars you have in there. Your tour modifieds, those came from, you bought an entire team?
Yes, they were the former Mark Seifert cars driven by Donnie Leah. The number 8 cars, for those of you that remember the 8 cars on the tour. We're pretty packed up, where the shop is pretty loaded, and we're going every which way every week to figure out what car we're running, what we're doing to what, get them all prepared and ready to go fast.
But I see that you've really seemed to have taken on to the driving an open wheel modified. Racing a Charger and racing a figure eight car is quite a different animal. You can't see the wheels.
No, you cannot.
Now,
if you can, there's issues.
there's trouble. But I know you did one of the first races. You went out to Evergreen and did pretty well out there until you got crashed under caution, from what I heard. But
yes,
you really seemed to do well for one of your first races in a tour mod.
Absolutely. I mean, none of us were expecting that right off the bat. I mean, obviously Evergreen is a place I'm very comfortable with. I started my racing career in a full-size car at Evergreen when it was Mountain Speedway. So I got a lot of laps at that place. But we were consistently in the top 7 or 8 cars in practice, and we won our heat race over Matt Hirschman. So that was pretty cool.
Which is not an easy feat.
Not very easy at all.
Matt seems to win just about any race that he's in, whether it's a heat or a feature race.
Yes. The race to the tire truck, he also wins. He was the first guy there that day. But, Matt came over afterwards, and we were having a conversation. He said, wow, I can't believe it's your first time, all that, But in the feature, I think we started 5th and had a lap 1 mix-up where we went for a slide through the infield. That put us at the rear of the field for a restart, and we were just trying to bide our time, not knock the tires off the car, and try to get back towards the front there. And under caution, we were about 7th or 8th, about halfway. Unfortunately, the right front got ripped off.
Well, but you let them know that you were there that day. I think you opened up a lot of eyes for a driver that had never driven a modified at that track also. But you flip right back to your crate modified from one night to the other. How big of a difference is there racing the two different cars? I know you've got different motors in them, different tires on them, but the chassis themselves are basically identical? Or?
Well, our Tour Mod is an LFR type chassis, so there's some differences between the LFR and the Troyer, which we have as the crate mod. But for the most part, yeah, most modifieds are similar in design. It doesn't compare at all, to be honest, from the Tour type to the crate mod as far as driving the car.
Different handling, different ways you have to approach
absolutely. Different throttle response and pickup and, power bands and all that.
Right. You've got a rev limiter on the crate mod that only allows you to get so many revs in there?
You're only allowed to turn 6,000 RPMs in the crate mod.
And what are you turning in the Tour mod?
8,000, but don't tell Visconti. No, 8,000 is about right at the chip, so on the Tour type, which we've seen pretty close to that.
Okay. What do you have going for the rest of the year? You're going to be, I know Riverhead is just about done, unbelievably. We're at the end of August. We're now into September for the last few races there. Are you going to be doing anything beyond the end of the season at Riverhead with the Tour modified?
We definitely have some plans in the works. I wouldn't say anything set in stone. I think that we're going to continue with our crate mod season at Riverhead. Riverhead Tour race coming in a couple weeks in September here.
Which is hard to believe. I mean, we just opened the gates, and now we're wrapping up the season.
The summer went too fast. I think there are plans for possibly some other Tour races at the end of the year too. Maybe the World Series, maybe some others. So.
Can the crate modified transfer over to other tracks? Can you run that anyplace else?
Well, we ran the Turkey Derby with the crate mod last year with their Sportsman division. We were a little underpowered compared to their cars because they are allowed to actually open their crate motors up and do some minor adjustments.
It's the last race of the season. Maybe you can crack it open and do a few adjustments.
When there's a will, there's a way, But we ran last year. We wound up 5th. So that was a real good showing for us, not having the same power as them guys. But
which is not bad. They have a pretty decent field for that race. So
yeah, I think there was 26 cars.
So not too shabby.
No, not at all.
Have you run Wall many times? Is that one of your first times you've run there?
That was my second.
So
I ran a Charger at Wall Stadium a few years back, and that one didn't end well.
No.
Well, no, we went for a wild ride that night.
So this one goes a little better.
Yeah.
When you get to a new track like Wall or Thompson or Stafford, place you haven't been to, do you go talk to any of the drivers before the race to get any pointers or any advice from the older guys?
Absolutely.
Who's some of the guys you've talked to? I know you said you talked to Matt Hirschman.
Yeah, Matt Hirschman at Evergreen. Even though I'd been at Evergreen for thousands of laps in other kinds of cars, with the Tour type modified, it was totally different. So talking to Hirschman, I've talked to Doug Kobe a little bit. Going to Stafford and Thompson, Ryan Preece. Just the guys that are fast.
Right.
Those are the guys you want to go talk to.
And those guys, from what I've seen, is they're always willing to talk to the younger guys to help them out. I mean, it's not like they're going to give you the wrong advice or just not talk to you. They generally like to help the younger guys.
Sure, but I mean, it's kind of a natural thing where everybody's going to talk to you until you're ready to compete and win races, and then it kind of tapers off. But at the very least, the older guys, the veterans, they don't want to see you crashing and in the way and stuff like that.
Or running them over.
Exactly. Always willing to help.
I know when younger guys, newer guys, sometimes they're a little bit slower. One of the fears is that they're going to get in the way when the pack is coming up on them, and to have some advice as to what groove to run, things like that.
Sure.
I'm sure they want to pass that information along as much as how to go a little faster. there are a lot of young guys out there on the tour at Riverhead. It's nice to see that you have a lot of young guys coming up. You being one of them, although you're not that young anymore.
Not so much anymore.
There's some guys you're racing against now that you might have 10 years on, which is kind of scary.
It is.
For me, especially, I mean, they could be my grandkids. But I mean, to see guys like Dylan Stoyer at Riverhead win the iSlip 300.
He's a young up-and-coming driver.
He really is. You know, I've been there for his 3 wins. One in the rain, which I was telling you a great story about how his dad had me laughing after the race because when they were coming on the radio asking what how's the track, the officials are asking him, can we go back to racing? Dylan's on the radio saying, yeah, let's go racing, and his dad's on the radio yelling at him, no, tell him it's bad, don't start the race. And then the downpour came that ended the night for you guys. But the kid really seems to know how to get around the track.
Oh, he does, absolutely. And that's just going to improve as he ages and gets more laps and experience under his belt.
I mean, he raced against you in the crates last year, and it looked like he was struggling a little bit generally on restarts. He just couldn't go on restarts. And this year it looks like just the 1 year when he goes from 14 years old to 15 years old that he's learned a lot. I've talked to his dad, and Dylan learned on dirt. He raced karts on dirt, I believe.
Yep.
And
I think slingshots.
With slingshots, when the track is slick, the track is a little damp when they're racing in the rain. Dylan actually likes it because now it brings him back to his dirt days. And even there was one race he was telling me on dirt that it started misting a little bit, and Dylan just kept getting faster and faster.
Really?
And he seems from week to week, the kid seems to get better.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes as you get older and more experienced, it kind of works to your disadvantage sometimes because you have so much knowledge accumulated that you don't know which direction to go. Sometimes it's better to be young, up and coming, wide-eyed, learning by the seat of your pants kind of thing.
And he doesn't seem to have any fear. I mean, I've seen him run side by side with other drivers, and whether it's no fear or just already being comfortable driving with the guys that he's driving with every week, he seems to hang in there, doesn't back out of it, and he's done some good things so far.
Absolutely. You can't knock him for what he's done so far.
So anyway, anywho, I see our next guest has arrived, and we're going to mic him up in a minute. John Visconti is here after fighting traffic for about 4 hours on his way back from Atlantic City.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that he came out to
at the very slow pace of 102 miles an hour.
Shh, this is live.
This is a racing show, right?
This is a racing show. So, so this week you're racing Riverhead in the crate?
Yes, we are running the crate at Riverhead this week.
Standard trail, extra laps this week?
No, I believe it's a regular 25-lap show.
So the heats and your feature?
Heats, feature, standard deal.
And that class seems to be, little by little, seems to be growing.
Absolutely growing.
I mean, we're up to 14 or 15 last week?
15, yeah.
15 cars. And there are a couple guys that have not shown up for a few weeks.
I think Terry Stiles will be back this week.
So maybe we get a 15, 16 car field.
That would be nice.
The racing's been better. Some of the guys that struggled early in the season at Riverhead in the crates seem to have learned their way around the track a little bit more.
I'm one of them.
You learn every week.
Yeah. Like I said, we haven't had a great year, but we're improving. And
well, it's funny, and I tell John this. I have a radio in the infield when I'm shooting pictures at Riverhead, and it has the NASCAR frequencies, the Touring Series frequencies, and your spotter, who I get to listen to every week. I get a shout out every once in a while, so I've listened to you in my head for the last 2 years, and heard the difference in what you're saying, what your spotters are saying, the lines that you're running, how you're running on the track, and you can see how you've progressed over the last couple of years from struggling a little bit when you first got in the car.
Wow, it's a totally different animal.
Having a big air filter in your vision.
That was a problem, yeah.
Versus just having a hood and fenders in front of you. But you've come along and quickly, you see some of the drivers like in Xfinity or the Truck Series or Monster that they come along fairly slowly, except some of the newer guys now, like William Byron, who
Right.
we got to meet in June out at Pocono, and who my older son, who says, because of me wishing him good luck, now William is second in points and has won 3 races since then. He hung out with Michael for about half an hour in the pits at Pocono,
Nice.
and he said, see, you just have to talk to me and look what happens. But,
Wow.
I mean, you see those kids even moving along pretty quick. I mean, William Byron learned to drive online playing video games.
There's a few that are out, doing very well in racing now that I've heard that have started in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's
here's
a
a kid,
testament to technology.
he's 18 years old, 19 years old.
Okay.
He's won 3 times in Xfinity. He's second in points. I think in the chase, I'm trying to figure out regular points versus chase points. He's actually leading in points as a rookie, and he's already signed on to race Cup next year.
Yeah, he's going to the 5, right?
He's taking over the 5 for Casey Kane. And it is amazing seeing these younger drivers.
It's the way of the world in racing.
The teams want to jump on them at an early age. You know, in the old days, the old guys like me used to see, some of these guys that would get into Cup racing at the age of 35 or
Right.
more. And that just doesn't happen anymore. The sponsors want the younger guys. The younger guys start younger. I mean, now they start racing at 8 and 9 years old.
Absolutely.
My kids are 17 and 20, soon to be 21, and to see guys that are racing full-time in Cup or full-time in Xfinity that are younger than my kids, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine. My kids don't have learner's permits. I couldn't imagine them doing, 198 miles an hour at Talladega, and here they are, these kids, and they race. They don't wreck. They race.
Yeah. It's a big burden, but at that age, you're just wide-eyed and ready to go, and
Fearless.
yeah, you don't think much of it, and you just get behind the wheel and do what you're supposed to.
Someday, if you could get a ride, Johnny, listening, in one of the upper divisions, I mean, would that be something that you would love to do? It would be
Absolutely.
Or a bucket list kind of thing to
Oh,
run
for
a season.
For sure. I think every single driver in any form of racing strives to go as far as they possibly can. And I said this in an interview a few weeks back at Thompson. If you say that you're going to be the next Richard Petty, you're setting your sights pretty high.
Absolutely.
If you go out and you do what you are supposed to do, drive your race car, and you get good at it, and you move forward, wherever you land and find your niche, if that's as far as you can go, you should be happy with that. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. Take it as far as I can, whether that be Riverhead in a tour type modified, on the modified tour, next level up, K&N, whatever it may be, I'll be happy with wherever I land.
Yeah, I mean, and in this day and age also, I was talking about marketing and sponsors and things. They want a guy who's well-spoken in front of the cameras, who knows how to give an interview.
Right.
I mean, we know Timmy Salamito, put a microphone in front of his face, and
Oh, he's a ham.
he's phenomenal.
Yep.
Just say go. He knows all his sponsors by heart.
Right.
He knows who to thank. He knows, to say the right things. He doesn't bash other drivers on
Right.
camera, in interviews. There's a lot to learn. I mean, I see online on Facebook at times where drivers will, after a race where they say they were wrecked, start a whole conversation on Facebook about how the officials stink. This driver wrecked me, things like that, and you can't do that. In my
Right.
opinion. I mean, I'm kind of old school. Occasionally in the heat of the moment, absolutely. When you get the Mike Stefanics of the world at Daytona, when they stick a hot mic in front of him, after he just lost a big race at Daytona, I think people actually enjoyed that.
Oh, absolutely.
But days later, to keep harping on it, you can't do it. And I don't think I've ever seen you do it.
Well, I would say that every single one of us, as drivers, owners, crew members, whatever, we all don't like the racetrack at some point. We all don't like an official at some point. We all don't like another driver at some point. But when you go out and make it public and put it on Facebook, it kind of doesn't make you look like a sore loser, but in a sense it does. Because you're putting it out there, you're
Well, it opens you up to
Opening,
criticism
exactly.
too, because if it's not a perfect world. Whether you're doing 70 miles an hour at Riverhead or 190 miles at Daytona, you have a split second to make a decision. No one is perfect. Occasionally, you're going to cause a wreck. Occasionally,
Right.
you're going to wreck somebody. And if you throw it out there that you are, have a complaint about a certain thing, you do the same thing, you're opening yourself up for criticism later on. So,
Sure, absolutely.
Well, we've come to our first break. Our first 15 minutes is in the book, 45 to go. We're going to get our guest, John Visconti, hooked up and bring him into the picture here and talk a little more racing here on 5 Off, 5 On.
Hey, what's oh, I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're Set It Up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
And welcome back. We have another guest, team owner John Visconti.
Hello, Michael.
Who owns the number 74 Modified, Tour Modified, Crate Modified, and...
Well, with any luck, we're in negotiations with Roger Oxy to take his late model operation over.
Roger's retiring?
From what we hear, that's why it's in negotiations.
Roger,
because you never know with Roger.
We invited Roger tonight, and he was going to come,
Wow.
but then he decided he couldn't come, and he's just been busting your chops online all day long. So
That's nothing new for Roger.
really,
Yeah, shocker. Yeah, you know, with Roger's operation and him retiring at the end of the season, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to put CJ in a different type of a vehicle, a good one at that. Roger has great equipment.
One with fenders again.
One with fenders.
it take a little get used to getting back with the fenders on the car.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you
It'll-
won't see the tires on that car.
No, hopefully we don't see the tires on that car, but it gives you a little bit more to lean on.
I'm hoping they let me drive this one at least. I keep buying stuff.
Well,
Nobody lets me drive anything.
Will you fit in the seat?
I could try. If Roger fits in it, I could fit in it.
Yeah, sure.
Point.
Good point.
Pedal extensions, that's the key.
Oh. Yes. Oh, my son's calling to say hello. So anyway, you'll take the car and team once the season's over. Will you race it later on in the year, or just for next season?
No, it's sort of something where we're going to use it as a stepping stone to some other things and give CJ some more time. We're not going to run it this season at all. We're going to bring it into our shop out here in Bellport and rebrand it, fit it to CJ, and kind of go over it and give us a little idea of what that car is about.
Change it to the 74.
74 logos, yeah,
Which
absolutely.
has been a number in your family for how many years?
Since 1960.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my dad's number.
And speaking of, how is Cookie? I saw him at the track the other night. He looked happy.
Yeah, he is. He's thank God. You know, he's his doctors. He has a team of doctors that have been doing a lot of work with him, a little R&D, if you will.
Okay.
And we had him in the wind tunnel, on his little scooter.
I was gonna say he loves that scooter.
Yeah, he does.
He loves being in the
He's got
middle of
some
the action.
new, aftermarket parts.
Yes, we souped it up a little
Did you?
bit. Sure we did. Sure we did.
It's funny when you see him, and he's such a nice guy.
Thank you.
Calls you over to say hello, see how he's asking how you're doing.
True.
Yeah,
that's the way he is.
and you're like, how are you doing?
you doing?
Yeah,
Right.
and he's like, I'm good.
Yep. He was at the Marty Himes Museum for the annual.
I forgot all about that. Marty Himes shares a birthday with my son.
Oh, is that right?
So we've had a few
Michael?
Yes.
Oh, very good.
We've had a few birthday cakes with Marty over the years.
Nice.
Himes Museum is a phenomenal place.
Yeah. If you haven't been there, for those of you out there, it's a great place to go. It's a total history of Long Island racing, and it's something you really should do, if not once, more than once in your life.
He has everything there.
True.
He's got a trophy there from Islip Speedway it's got to be like from the 60s, maybe in the late 50s. It is this big, huge bust of just a huge...
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
But even that, from the race cars, the midget race cars, the pictures...
Yeah, everything.
I mean,
Everything.
You could, and it's not even that big a place.
True.
You can spend a week there and not see everything. He's done a tremendous job over the years.
Absolutely.
I've got to sit down and talk with him a few times, and the racing stories
They just keep on coming.
days and days and days.
Yeah.
I mean, he raced for how many years before he started collecting everything?
That's true.
And how many people do you know who have old memorabilia or race cars that aren't using anymore say, I got to give this to Marty.
Right.
Put it in the yard.
Right, that's true.
And he actually, years ago, lost a lot of stuff when he had the fire.
The fire in the bigger building, correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I remember
and
that.
he has recovered and even more than he had way back then.
It's great for not only for the fans that haven't been to the Islips or the Freeports of the day or the Riverheads back in the earlier days, but the old timers flock to.
Yes.
Ray Matheson was there, the red Camaro number 22 car from back in the late model days with my dad.
Nice.
You had Michael Campy there, whose
Wow.
father, Don Campy, and
Sure.
his brothers owned Freeport.
Ran Freeport
it's
for years.
just a whole collection of people that go there, and any corner that you walk to, there's a story behind that little setup of it, whether it be a driver uniform, like you said, or a helmet or a trophy. It's really quite nice.
When you turn a corner there and whatever's there, old programs,
Right.
pictures, thousands and thousands of pictures,
Yeah.
and he knows what
Everyone
thing
is.
You can pick up a picture out of a box and go, what is this? And he'll name the
Tell the
driver,
whole story for it.
what year it was,
Yep.
maybe even what race it was.
That's true.
And it's just neat to hear the stories, and his face lights up when he tells these stories.
Yeah, that's his life.
Yeah.
That's his life.
Yeah, like I say, he's forgotten more than any of us will ever
for
know.
sure. For
and,
sure.
And he goes back to Freeport, where your dad raced.
Yes.
I saw your dad back in the 70s when he was in his late model.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was one of the better ones.
Yes.
Him and Paul Masseri.
Paul Masseri, sure. Artie Tappan.
Artie Tappan. And they had a great class of cars there with those late
they did.
models.
They did.
They actually had too great of a class. I think they allowed too many things in there, and it got
It's true.
so expensive.
You know what happened? I think, and my father was one of the people to blame for this. My father, Artie Tappan, I think there was a gentleman named Jimmy Walker,
Sure.
Teddy Wisnowski.
Yes.
Some of those guys, Paul Masseri, of course, they took the jalopy type car that was called the late model at the time, and they started to do prefab chassis.
Oh.
And then they started to do, there was a whole, it went from your backyard mechanic type cars that were racing every weekend to the next level.
Without a doubt.
And it really exponentially grew technology-wise within 3 or 4 years from your bomber class to ASA type late models.
Yes, and also when Freeport went from being with, I forget the promoters they had back in the 60s, to the Campies.
Right, that was the Donaldsons.
The Donaldsons.
Duke Donaldson and Billy Kennenberg.
They had their own modified class, and I saw a video recently of opening weekend when they went to NASCAR.
Right.
And,
right.
And the difference between the Freeport modifieds and the Islip and Riverhead modifieds
Right.
was night and day.
Absolutely.
Even the Bruno Brackeys of the world,
Right.
who
Dominated.
when the Islip guys showed up.
Then you had the Richie Evanses come in.
Sure.
You had the Jerry Cooks come in.
Yeah.
Dines.
The Bodines came in, exactly.
Sure. They had the Friday night shows. They were paying big money.
It just
back in 74, 75, I think it was.
Yeah.
And the Freeport guys were just pushed to the back.
That's what happens.
Some of them adapted,
Right.
got newer cars, but I always remember watching that video and thinking
It was a night and day difference.
it was modifieds
Us
from
and
the
them.
60s,
Right.
modifieds from the 70s,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
just the two different tracks.
Well, that's what happens with, we all know when you want to go faster, you have to do something for that to happen. So technology, and then when one person or one team finds a little something that gives them that little edge,
Everybody starts
people
chasing.
it, they catch it, and then they find something
Everybody,
better.
everybody wants that
to go faster.
$400 shock. you
Right,
know?
right, exactly.
And if the rules don't prevent it, I think that's the struggle that Riverhead's having with now is trying to kind of rein in costs for the
Right.
different divisions
Right.
versus, obsoleting what people already
Already
have.
have.
Going to crate motors in
Right.
some of the divisions. It's a balancing act. If you push out some guys who just can't afford to go to cheaper
Right.
cars, that hurts you as much as letting them put whatever they want in the cars.
Well, that's why I thought when Eddie and Connie decided to do the crate modified deal, we had said this once before. I was done. After the Legends deal. I really decided, you know what? I've had my fill. Then they brought this relatively inexpensive modified class, which was a great stepping stone to go further. And I have to tell you, it is an affordable program. The tire program is good. The engine program is good. The brakes and the shocks and whatnot. It is an affordable. You can always go to the next level, but I think it's an affordable way to get involved in. And you don't need a brand new chassis. You don't need a 16 or a 17 or an 18 LFR or a Troy or whatever other chassis are out there. You can get away with a seasoned chassis.
Well, it also seems like it's been a stepping stone for some of the Legends guys who are now moving
Absolutely.
up and are
Mike
winning
Rogowski.
races.
Look at Michael.
Yep, did a
Absolutely.
great job. He's won.
Slept.
Yep. Even like we were talking about Dylan Stoyer before.
True.
That was his first foray into modifieds when he blew through there
very well.
in a year.
Very well.
And now on to the full blown. But it's a nice stepping stone.
It is.
To go from a Charger in the old days or Legend right to a modified. That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
And CJ can talk all about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the driving style is the biggest difference, but going from the Charger to the modified may have been closer in driving style, but then you have the fact that the wheels are out there, in this little bit of a slower crate modified division, you have the wheels out there and you're not going at rocket speed.
Right.
Especially at a place like Riverhead.
Right. And you're
where everything happens so fast.
What are they? We said they're about 2,000 RPMs less in the motors, so you're going, 10, 15 miles an hour slower in the cars, maybe a little more?
Yeah, I would say the difference between the crates and the full-blown mods, I would say the corner speeds are relatively the same, I would think. But the tour-type modifieds get from point A to point B so much faster. You have double the horsepower and double the tire to hook up with. So,
listen, the Legends had a time trial race a couple weeks ago, or last week, and oh my God, how fast those guys are! I mean, they're right behind the modifieds.
Yeah, isn't it insane?
And you're sitting this far off the ground.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, I mean they've turned over a few of those this year. They bounce up pretty high in the air once they get.
It was a great shot you took too.
Which one?
Yeah, right. Was it Anthony Calandro?
That was opening night.
Right.
That was the 45. He went end over end, side over side, end over end.
Mackie guy the other, I think.
Yeah, he got it. He's done. I think he bent everything in that car.
Really?
He hit it. He went up and over, hit the wall with his roll cage upside down.
Yeah.
It flipped it up and landed hard, and it got quiet for a second.
Yeah.
And he got out of the car. I would swear he had a smile on his face.
It's a nice ride.
I mean,
that's an A-ticket right there.
He's a big guy too. I mean, he's right up against the roll cage, I'm sure, in that thing. So, and to see it hit with the roll cage is always a scary thing. But I was talking to one of the officials in the pits afterwards, and they said that it scares them when the Legends have a big hit like that, but they know what safety's built into those cars.
Right.
I mean, those guys always walk away. Mm-hmm. They may get their bell rung a little bit, but they're always.
They do a good job. INEX does a good job of making the cars pretty safe. It's always better to people say it's a lot more, like the experience of it, but you'll see a car flipping side by side. It's actually a lot better than hitting straight on.
Absolutely.
And I've seen a lot of those too, which it's worked.
We got to take a break. John might have a couple more stories when we come back if we can squeeze them out of him. But 5 off, 5 on. We're back in a few.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Les Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Master. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network. Hey, you know, I forgot we have people texting us up here on the board. Who we got? I see Joe's in there. I'm assuming that's Joe Larson. Hopefully not screwing up your show too bad. You know, hope you're back and healthy in a few weeks. I'm actually not sure who's filling in next week. Do we know? Is that you?
I would love to.
There you go.
I don't know if the rest of the world would like that, but I wouldn't mind.
There you go. You got a John who's willing to do a whole hour all by himself. So, and who else have we got? Two major Rangers fans on that stage. Yeah, that's got to be Ted Baxter, an Islander fan.
Somebody's going to take your ride, put Cookie in the model.
Who pointed out to me yesterday that the Islanders sponsored an Xfinity team out at Road America yesterday. Had the logo on the hood.
Wow, yeah.
Which number? The 74? Who was that?
Was it the 74?
74?
Really? I don't think it was 74.
Well, whatever it was. But anyway, Ted brought that up and was kind of like, what the hell are they doing in Wisconsin?
That's cool.
So
How'd they make out?
Not well, I don't think. So there was a lot of off-road excursions. We were watching it while we were shooting some pool yesterday, and the 16, is that Christopher Bell?
I didn't watch it. I was
the 16. He mowed a lot of grass yesterday. Yeah, he did some damage to that car. It's a tough track. It's a 4-mile road course, and it's high speeds, long straightaways, and you know they only do a couple of road courses. And they have another one coming up next week, or that's trucks. Trucks are going up to Canada next week, but most of them are shorter, 2 miles or less in length. So 4 miles around is a long track.
They have a good combination, I think, of high speed straightaways and some slow speed or low speed corners at that Road America track. So it makes it interesting.
And they have a lot of runoff area too. I mean, you can actually get off and mow a bunch of grass and still get back on and keep going.
Not hit stuff, yeah.
Yeah, although you're still hitting a lot of stuff.
Well, Jeremy Clemens did that. I think it was on the last lap. He spun himself out.
With contact. He made contact. I think he was trying to pass for the lead, right?
Yeah.
And he made contact.
They both spun
went around, but he got back on.
It was the 74. Thank you, Ted. Who else we got in here? Anybody know in here? Who's Murph? What do we got? VMC Marketing. Hello, Jaws and gang. Put Cookie in the late model, Joe. Cookie wouldn't mind, I'm sure.
No,
not at all. Not at all.
How many years since Cookie raced?
82 was his last race. When Freeport closed down.
So it's been a while. He never raced one race after that?
No. Whenever Freeport closed down was his last race.
Well, in those days, you were racing go-karts?
That was probably the beginning of it, around 79. I think I saw the karts in 79 or 80.
West Hampton? Or actually, did you race at Jones Beach?
Jones Beach.
That's been a long time. They should go back and race there again. I mean,
that was the hardest grip. The surface was horrible to race on.
Well, it was
a
beat up old parking lot,
but it was a lot of fun. A lot of good drivers came out of that.
Well, Riverhead didn't have karts this year.
Correct.
So they've been traveling up to Poughkeepsie to race. It'd be nice to have another track on Long Island for them to race. They've had different places over the years. What was the place right off the expressway they had for years? Medford.
You raced there, right?
I raced at Medford,
on Friday nights. I never went there. That's in the days I was spending weekends out in Greenport or Orient where my parents live and working in the city.
Right.
So we used to be stuck in traffic driving by on Friday nights, keep going, we should go there one of these weekends, and it just never happened.
West Hampton was a great track. It was a road course. Big road course. It was in the middle of the West Hampton Oval, which I think was a half mile.
In the sand.
Yes.
If you got a course there, you were buried.
Yeah, it was a good track though. It was a lot of fun.
Never saw a race there. They only raced there on the oval 2 years, I believe. I think it was 64 and 74 or 66 and 76. It was literally 10 years apart.
Right.
First time was before my time. Second time they raced the one summer they did Sunday afternoons, and Charlie Jazambek I think won literally like every race they had that year.
I think I heard that. That's correct.
That wouldn't be a shock.
No. But that was a hard track to race from what I knew. It was flat in 1 and 2 and high banked in 3 and 4.
Correct. Yeah, and it was almost like a I don't know, like a diamond in a way, because it was wide at 3 and 4 was wide and 1 and 2 was very narrow.
Yeah, they basically paved the apron and used that as the track.
Yes, it was cool.
I only got to see the track once. I was doing some work in West Hampton and went by and the gate was open, which don't leave the gates open around me.
Right.
So I drove out and took a little walk around and was thinking this would be a pretty cool track to go to every week, you know? It was like a high bank Stafford, pretty much.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
The original track.
Yeah.
But they never put any money into the place, and they all kind of knew with development kind of closing in.
The end was near.
Yeah, I mean, even with the drag strip, that's a perfect place for development because the road is basically built down the middle, and they just build houses on both sides.
There's houses there now.
Yeah,
it's a whole development, right?
It's a retirement community or no?
There is some sort of community. I don't know what it is, retirement or not, but I believe they built a sheriff's department or something there as well.
Well, that's in the back. Well, that's always been there because that's behind there were the missile silos from the 60s, which are quite interesting. But it's a shame. It's just like New York National, like Islip, like Freeport. Other things generate a lot more money than racing once a week for 4 months or 5 months a year. Freeport is BJ's. They make a lot more money selling diapers and gasoline in bulk than you do with a racetrack. But so you kind of grew up at Freeport, though.
Yeah, I was born in '63. My dad was there from '60 already. So as soon as I was able to get to the tracks, being very young, even when I was like 1, 2, or 3 with my mom.
Wow.
My grandparents went all the time. My father's parents, and my grandfather was a security guard, which not a lot of people know.
Wow.
At the back gate between the
So
pit area and
snuck
he would let me
that way.
sneak with
That's
my
great.
mom, sneak me in. But it was pretty. I grew up at the track, and when my dad retired is when I started doing a little bit more on my own, and then when I stopped driving and put other people in the Legends car, I really thought that was the end. And then
What was the last that you drove?
the Legends car right before Richie came on.
Wow.
Actually, John Beatty drove for a while.
Yes.
Then he broke his wrist.
Oh, is that
in
when
the modified
John,
race, right?
That's when John got out of the car?
That's when John got out.
Okay.
And then Richie, actually Tommy Rogers drove one night.
Did he?
One night for me, because the night Beatty hurt his wrist, I was scrambling for a guy, and I said, Tommy, I think they made him start like 22nd, and he finished 4th or 3rd.
I'm sure.
Another couple laps he would have won it, and then
He's amazing driver.
Tommy Rogers. I can't say anything more.
And as he gets older, to me, he gets better. He's more mature driver. He has more patience than he used to. Going back 10 years, he would bump you out of the way more.
Right.
Now he'll wait. Even watching him, even the heats now, it's almost like he looks at
Takes
the
his time a
races.
little bit.
He goes,
Yeah,
you
I'll
let
leave it
those
alone.
guys.
I know I
Yeah.
can, yeah.
And when I get to the feature, if I start 12th, 10th, I'm good.
I'm still good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
He gets out, and even the other night, he did something that was pretty funny. He won the was it modified feature or the figure eight feature? Modified feature. He goes in the stands and grabs somebody's kid and brings it on the track. I'm out there, I'm like thinking it's a relative.
Right, just some
niece,
random
and
kid.
Yeah, he goes, I don't know who it is.
That's great.
Took some pictures, handed it back to the parents. The parents
Take 'em
were the parents were beaming.
Yeah, that's cool.
He had a big smile.
That's great.
And somebody even commented, "Wow, Tommy's even smiling in that picture."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because Tommy, the one time that Tommy drove for us, at the time we had red T-shirts that had the IGA logo on it, and I gave Tommy a T-shirt, and the 2 times that he wore the shirt, one of them was last week,
He won.
underneath his
He won.
driver's uniform. he had the IGA logo on it, and he was in victory lane.
And actually, speaking of IGA, I want to ask you about your sponsors and things. I know they've been instrumental in sponsoring
Absolutely.
you guys, and also Roger Oxy too.
Yes.
I mean, the marriage of the two teams actually kind of seems to make sense.
Yes.
You can cut around the logo and just repaint the rest of the car. You know.
Really?
Leave it where it is.
You know, Mr. Rickert.
Mr. Reichert, yep.
Reichert, I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
who was sponsored races. He's been instrumental with the NEMA races they've had at Riverhead.
That's true.
You know, with you guys, with Roger.
Right. Lou, I believe Lou with the truck. Main Street,
Okay,
yep.
sure.
He's on there.
And you know, I don't see him at the track a lot, but you know, we do. It's always nice to see him there. He's usually there for the NEMA race.
Yes, because Adam Cantor Memorial. Alan Cantor Memorial.
Alan Cantor.
Yes.
Right. He's been there for that. He sponsors those races.
Right, and he's also sponsored the Cantors over the years, I believe.
Yes.
Also.
Well, that's how it happened. When Adam retired from racing, that's when he wanted another type. He didn't want to do another truck. He didn't want to do another late model. So when we had the Legends car, it was a nice fit for him.
Right.
And that's when he started with us. That was about 7 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we need more people like that in racing because it's,
Absolutely.
you know, the cost involved, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, to sponsor races. You know, I've sponsored a few things here and there. You know,
Right,
to do a
right.
little part, but I see other people like like the Doug Dunleavys of the world.
Right.
That
Yep.
without
Right.
them,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
whole divisions at Stafford that he sponsors.
Really?
Drivers all over the place. You see his name pop up on the back of cars all over the place. Without people like that,
Yeah, you wouldn't have
this
this.
Absolutely.
sport would not exist.
A lot of us would not be where we are without the IGAs, the Dunleavys, those kinds of people in
Right.
this world.
It's true. It's true. It's very difficult to, from an owner standpoint now, I see all the things that, like, what my dad went through, not realizing it then.
Yeah.
If you have a good sponsor, and we're very fortunate, we have the IGAs, we have the Applebee's. We have
Shore
Mechanicals.
Bottlehampton.
We have people that, for the love of the sport,
Yes,
they
absolutely.
like what we do for them and vice versa.
Well, I was going to say, and teams like yours represent them well.
Thank you.
We were talking a little bit about on social media, people going off on tracks, officials,
bad.
whatever. You're representing a team. If it's all your own money, that's fine.
Right.
But if you've got sponsors involved,
Corporate people.
corporate, they don't want
wanna hear about that.
No, they want people that are professional, people that are well spoken in front of the cameras
True.
with the reporters. And it's changed a lot from the old days when you have a white T-shirt with your cigarettes
Sleeves
rolled up the
rolled
sleeve.
up,
When a guy spins you out or wrecks you, and
Right.
you get out of the car
Fist
and
fighting.
punch him
Right.
in the face.
The sport's come a long way, and more corporations are getting involved. I know, like on our end, we have some pretty substantial people that are backing us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to go to another break. This is zooming along. Maybe we make this a 2-hour show. Can we do that? Is that legal? But anyway,
legal.
we'll be back in a few moments on 5 Off, 5 On.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8 Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Rich Weller. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
What's up, guys? This is Assuming We Survive, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
welcome back for the last 12 minutes? 10 minutes. We're trying to steal 2 more minutes. Hey, Joe, I got your message. There actually is no show next week, so there is no guest host, and I'm not sure who's up next. Maybe you can tell us, Joe? But it's Labor Day, so no one will be here. If anybody wants to watch, they can watch replays of the old shows. They can watch this over and over and over since they loved it so much. But it's been fun, and we still have 9 minutes to go.
It's all you.
All me. Listen, it's been an honor. I've been on the show as a guest before, and it's always a lot of fun before the season. And you were on that show.
Yes.
We did a preseason show that was 2 hours. That was Joe's anniversary show.
That's right.
I also, one of the things that Joe always talks about was there was one person that never missed any of his shows, and that was Walter, who founded My Race News, which I'm the editor of now and owner of. And I just wanted to mention Walter because it was something that was near and dear to Joe's heart to have Walter tune in and bust his chops at every show and be a guest on the show. So I just wanted to just talk about that for a split second. So, but anyway, we are almost done.
Great.
You have fun?
Yes, I always have a ball, yeah.
You had a long ride out, though? I'm sorry about that.
That's right. Listen, it was well worth it.
I brought donuts. I knew he wouldn't fail me if I had a dozen donuts in the green room. So we're going to chow down on those after. But end of the season's coming. You've got a few more races to go, and then later on in the season, probably a couple of modified races here and there.
Yes.
I'm sure I'll be taking some pictures of some of the races that you're going to be at.
Great.
We're looking to go up to Oswego this weekend for Classic Weekend. The Modifieds and IMSA Supers with the Wings. The Traveling Series will be up there on Saturday.
Those are fast.
And
those are crazy.
Well, last year, and they don't allow you to do this anymore, the photographers got to stand on the inside edge of the track, which is about a 2.5 foot high steel wall. And you literally kind of lean out over the track to take the pictures. And when a pack of the Supers with the Wings go by, the air literally kind of pushes you back as they're going by in the turns, probably about 120 miles an hour.
That's insane.
125 miles an hour. But Oswego got a new insurance company this year, or the insurance company they had changed the rules now, and they have to be back 10 or 15 feet now.
Oh, really?
Which
doesn't have the same effect.
Doesn't have the same effect. So we got to stand on big cement blocks further on the infield. So I got to do it once, where I got to hang out over the track and take pictures of cars going underneath my camera.
That's got to be really cool, though. Good feeling.
We have fun. We're traveling all over the country. We started in Vegas this year, out in March. I get to travel with my son Michael more. He's been coming to a lot of tracks and hanging out at Thompson and Star, hanging out at Riverhead with me.
Right.
And it's been a lot of fun. He's growing up. He turns 21 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Michael.
Happy birthday, Michael.
And he loves races. He knows all the drivers. In Victory Lane, a few places.
Right.
The drivers have actually called him over because they know him and see him standing next to me and they want to get a picture with him.
Nice.
Which is pretty neat. This whole wild, wacky racing world that we're part of, it's allowed me to go to a lot of places that I never thought I'd be.
Yep.
Standing on pit road at Pocono for the Xfinity race with my son.
He must have really liked that.
I can't even tell you. He smiled for 3 days. And we got done with the Xfinity race. We hung out in the pits for a little bit, ran to the car, got hopped in the car, drove all the way to Riverhead for Saturday night features. Right. And if it wasn't for traffic getting to the George Washington Bridge, we would have made all 6 features that night.
Wow.
As it was,
we went to Mahoning.
We went, I gotta go to Riverhead. That's my home.
All right.
We missed one race, and as I was running out to the track with all my equipment, I forget who I ran by. They were like, "Weren't you just at Pocono?" And I said, "No time to talk. Gotta go take some pictures." And listen, I've been doing that for about 10 years now at Riverhead.
Nice.
I've gotten to know all the people out there, the drivers, the
You do a
officials,
great job
the
too.
fans.
You do take great pictures, and
We try.
Very
We help.
involved.
We help out the teams with pictures. I'm not in it for the money.
Right.
I've given pictures for sponsors whenever you
Great.
need it. That's my contribution to the sport. I don't give a ton of money,
Right.
but when I can give pictures that you can get money from sponsors or cement your sponsorship deals, I've helped that out. Boy, my Facebook feed is probably blowing up right now with picture requests.
I need a picture.
Did I just say all that? But I do enjoy it. I've got to learn from some of the best. The late Howie Hodge, I hung out with him a lot over the years at Thompson, and when he came down to Riverhead and Waterford and Wall and all sorts of neat places.
What's your favorite track?
Riverhead?
Aside from Riverhead, to take pictures at.
To take pictures at?
Coolest place to shoot would be.
Right.
Coolest place? I love New Egypt because you stand up against the inside wall. And we were there for an ROC dirt race 3 years ago. And Jimmy Blewett kept going underneath my camera as he went by.
Oh, really?
And I decided to step back when he started hitting a rut in front of me and bouncing up so I could see his front bumper when he was going by.
Wow.
And so I decided to step back. But you're right there. Oswego has got to be right there.
Right.
Used to be, because it used to be right up against the cars.
Right.
And anything at any of the big tracks.
Yeah, that's gotta be fun.
It's just fun. But dirt, I enjoy. I've been up to Lebanon Valley, and
That's the one track I've never been to.
where you stand to shoot, the cars go by above you because the track is so high banked.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
you literally shoot up in some places.
I've never been to a dirt race, period.
They're actually
Really?
they have a big dirt race Thursday night that we were kind of eyeing up maybe going to. I think it's a 100-lap.
Doesn't Dylan Stoyer run there?
Dylan runs a Sportsman or a 358 modified up there, not the full-blown
Right,
modifieds. I don't think Dylan's. I don't think they
His
own a
age?
full-blown modified.
Is it an age thing or is it?
No. Actually, they have less restrictions than you do here on the island. I think
really?
they start at like 12 or 13 years old.
Jesus.
It's amazing. I was sitting in the infield after the Legends Time trials the other night, and the two kids that are in the division, Howie Brody's son, and I don't know the other kid's name.
I think Jeffrey Ferrugia.
Yeah, I mean, they're 13 years old, and they can drive race cars. They've been driving go-karts and champ karts for years, but I feel so old standing next to these guys. Even the young guys, I look at them and I think they might feel old standing next to these guys.
I do, and I'm only 26. Like you said before, racing against Dylan Stoyer or some of these other younger guys, it's like
You're 11 years older than Dylan.
yes, exactly.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
even I'm feeling a little old, and
Yeah, I'm
it's amazing to think that I used to be
43 years.
one of them.
Yeah.
I started at
I'm
14.
a bit
so-
older.
No, I'm older than you are. Yeah,
How old?
I was born in '59.
Oh, wow, you are older.
Yeah, I look good though, right?
Well, you do look really good for
But
109.
but it's maybe partly is because I'm getting older and older, but the kids do look younger and younger. They really do.
It's because your eyesight is getting worse and worse. Whatever.
I look better in the mirror now, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a changing sport. I enjoy going every week. We're putting our full plans together of different tracks we're going to go to.
Nice.
Maybe head up to New Hampshire. We might be going to Dover. Plus the Riverhead races. We did the one Dover race that we went to. We went to Riverhead Saturday night, got up at God knows what time in
went
the
to Dover,
morning,
right.
and went to Dover on Ted's Race Tours bus, which if you ever want to get to some of these races, Richmond, Dover, places like that, it's the way to go because you can sleep the whole way down and the whole way back. And it doesn't cost that much to do it. So, but,
And I think there's a requirement you have to wear a Ranger jersey on Ted's Race Tours bus, right?
There's a message. The message is popping up right now. Nobody told me about donuts. Who's Waffle Man?
I don't know.
We have to use your real name
Might
when we
be,
do these
might
kind
be
of
Timmy.
things.
He likes waffles.
Does he?
Oh, he loves waffles.
Look at him.
Ted loves waffles too. Ted might have two things in here going.
Ted loves Waffle House.
Oh, that is Ted because the Jaws fan club disappeared. So my favorite, Mike Jerky. That's nice. That's nice. He's my favorite on the show. He's a great guest
Thank you.
because you get to do what you do best
Talk.
besides racing.
Well, talk.
Talking. He's good.
I'm a good owner.
You are a good owner.
I'm a good owner.
Listen,
Actually, Marie's a really good owner.
Marie.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. How come we didn't bring Marie?
She,
I know you just took her to Atlantic City.
Yeah,
Is that
she,
for her birthday
She had
or?
a thing.
No, it was just we had an off weekend, and I don't get a lot of them, and I'd like to take care of her and let her enjoy her weekends when.
And she has a sweetheart. I see her at the track more than she used to.
Yeah, well, I think it's because she wants to keep an eyeball on Speedy over here.
She likes me, I think.
She does like you. Yeah, yeah. No, you know what? She's enjoying it more. She's more involved now.
Yes.
Back when she wasn't as involved, and she's enjoying the notoriety.
You're Staten Island, right?
Yes.
So what, about 2 hours to get to the track every week?
No more than that.
Is it?
Because there's always traffic on the Bell Parkway. Time-wise, if there was no traffic, it would be 2 hours. But it's a good 2.5 to 3.
John leaves Friday to get to Riverhead on Saturday.
It's true. It's horrible.
Which,
Yeah, no big deal.
love of the game.
And I don't speed because 55. You know I don't speed.
Right.
Right.
You know I don't speed.
Absolutely
Right.
not.
I really don't.
So that was not your picture in that
It might have been on kilometers.
What had happened?
Would that work? Would that work?
Well, what about, I mean, going to, say, Evergreen would race, is it closer or further away than Riverhead?
It's about the same.
About the same?
I actually got to Thompson quicker than I got to Riverhead from my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Helicopter?
No, car. I drove.
Are you is it one of those in the future?
We are working on that,
As you know,
as we
be
speak.
all over the place?
Yes, as we
Listen,
speak.
the most fun I ever had was Eddie Whalen was an owner. He used to fly to some of the races.
Really?
And Eddie does my installs for me at my regular job.
Right.
And he would call me on a Thursday and say, "Hey, I got an extra spot in the plane. You want to fly to
that's
New Hampshire?
great.
You want to fly to Thompson? You want to fly?"
That's awesome.
That's great.
And you know, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
What time
Yes.
do I got to be
Right.
there?
Do I bring donuts? I'm in.
So, but then he retired, and that was the end of that. So
Trying to get Marie to buy us a helicopter.
So anyway, unbelievably, the hour is gone.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Like that, it's gone.
Joe, thank you very much. This was a blast. I think we did a good job. We didn't blow anything up, and we didn't set anything on fire here tonight.
Yeah.
And had two great guests, John
Thank you.
Visconti.
Thank you, sir. Happy
And-
birthday.
Thank you. And
Joe,
CJ
hope you're feeling
Lely.
better.
And we will see you. I'm sure he'll maybe have me back one of these nights. And that's it for 5 Off, 5 On.